There's a calm, gentle breeze today. It's late November, and it's the ideal time to plant bare root roses. The best way to treat bare root roses when they arrive is to rehydrate them in a bucket of water and get them in the ground as soon as possible. I'm planting my roses today, but I did a few things in advance just so I could get ready for them. The first thing is to find a suitable location for your roses. Depending on the growing conditions, you want somewhere where it can get adequate sun and not so much competition from other root systems which may be around. I didn't know what the weather would be like, so I pre-dug my holes and estimated the length of the bare root so that when it came to putting it in the ground, it was much easier. What you're looking at is the bud union. This is where the canes of the rose grow, and beneath that you have the shank and the anchor roots. It's pretty easy to see which way up to plant this. The green canes are above ground and the roots are below ground. The rose I'm planting today is called Tranquility. It's a pale white rose and it grows from about 4 feet high to about 4 feet wide, which is 125 centimetres by 125 centimetres. This is an English shrub rose. Whether you're planting a bare root grafted rose or an own root rose, pay attention to how far below the soil you bury your bud union. I'm using a bamboo cane here to hold the roots against. This will act as support as I backfill the hole with soil. I'm just digging a little deeper, just so that my roots will sit nice and comfortably. Okay, so now we're ready to plant some tranquility into the garden. It has been known that roses like blood, but I haven't got any of that, so I'm using fish blood and bone as a fertiliser. What it will do is slowly release nutrients into the soil around the roots. So as the rows grow, it just has that extra bit of nutrients just to get it growing. This is, of course, completely up to you. You can plant the rose root directly into the soil. Now, what I'm doing is just holding the roots steady as I backfill with soil. Now, remember I showed you the bud union. That's that part just below the green canes. You can either bury this underneath, just underneath the ground, or above the ground. It's entirely your choice. It's worth noting that burying your bud union just below the surface of the soil will give it extra protection in winter. If you leave it exposed and it's very cold, you might want to put some mulch just around the base of it. So I'm just filling this hole with my hands, just packing the soil down as I go. Mulch is a covering of material that you put above soil to help keep in the moisture, help keep the soil cool. If you live in the northern hemisphere, there's quite a good chance that you could get frost in the winter. So mulch could be any organic material such as pine needles, grass, chippings. My favourite is chipped tree bark. You can also use shredded leaves or straw. There's also synthetic mulch such as landscape fabric or stone and gravel. So now the root is in the ground, I'm just giving it a good water just to settle it in. According to the packaging with this rose, I should see some blooms as early as this summer. And I really can't wait to see them. It's going to be magical. Always love having a new rose in the garden. Ideally, it's best to bury your bud union just below the surface of the soil. I'm just packing it down here, and then in a few days I'll come back and I'll add some more compost around. And if it gets colder, I'll lay some mulch. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all your views. What's your favourite rose? Leave me a message down in the comments.